Hey there everybody, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Puborama, and in today's video, we are going to be breaking into a rather simple question. What is the best armored vehicle to own in Grand Theft Auto Online? In front of us, we have two different types of vehicles. We have Arena War, and we have IMANI Tech. Now, the average viewer might say, well, obviously, IMANI Tech vehicles are way better than Arena War. Honestly, not many people even know much about the Arena War update and vehicles that exist. However, I have pitted the two best of each against each other. So we have the Buffalo STX. In my opinion, this is the best IMANI Tech vehicle. I also really like the Ocelot Virtue. However, I think for most use cases, the Buffalo STX is slightly better for two reasons. First of all, it features a four-door, which means if you're ever doing heists or anything with four people, the STX is going to be a lot better. But as we can see, its glass is also somewhat bulletproof. It's going to survive 26 rifle rounds before it does get cut through. This means if you're going up against NPCs or a player doesn't like you, it's going to take them just a little bit longer to cut through the glass, where the other two IMANI Tech vehicles we have here do not feature bulletproof glass whatsoever. The Virtue is faster than the Buffalo STX on lap time because it has better acceleration and handling. It also looks a lot better, but it's still, it's just not as good as the STX overall. And then we arrive to Arena War vehicles. Now, Arena War has quite a bit of unique and interesting, things. We got a tank, but unfortunately this tank is quite useless as it doesn't have a weapon to defend yourself against anybody, and it's rather slow. And we also have something like the Sasquatch. Now, personally, I actually love the Sasquatch. I think this is one of my favorite vehicles in the game. However, in terms of, dealing with oppressors and things like that, it's not going to do a great job. So, I am pitting this vehicle, the Future Shock ZR380, against the Buffalo STX. I think there's actually a much closer competition than you think. Today's video is going to have a couple different things we're going to break into. Customization, defense, offense, and overall handling and top speed. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Let's get into it. Starting off, let's talk about customization on the Buffalo STX, and to be honest, it's pretty lackluster, and there's not much going for the vehicle. We have some front-mounted machine guns. These do not deal a lot of damage, and they're basically useless in my personal opinion. I don't ever use them. I just wait for my front glass to be broken, or I'll break it myself and use an AP pistol, something like that, and just shoot whatever is in front of me. We also have slick mines that you're able to mount by pressing the horn button. We can see these slick mines I'm placing on the road. Honestly, they don't do much. Like, yeah, they'll, cause you to slide, but apart from that, they're not going to hinder anybody. They're not going to stop somebody from chasing you. So, yeah, slick mines, they're okay. I'll give them a solid 3 out of 10 on effectiveness. I guess it's nice that you can still spam them. The final bit of customization is the fact that you can equip this vehicle with a missile lock-on jammer and armor upgrades. The armor is quite simple. You're able to survive 10 homing missiles and 6 sticky bombs. That is a lot of protection. And when it comes to the missile lock-on jammer, well, it's as simple as it gets. It stops any homing missiles from being able to lock on this vehicle. That is amazing. So let's say there's an Oppressor Mark II above you. Well, it can't aim in at all on you. This person's going to have to manually aim 10 homing missiles on your car, basically making you quite indestructible. When it comes to customization, the ZR380 absolutely blows any IMANI Tech vehicle out of the water. First of all, you have two different boost options. The first boost allows you to achieve a much higher top speed. The second one allows you to immediately slide your vehicle to the right or to the left at any speed. It's actually really cool. Personally, I find it very unwieldy, but still, definitely a really cool addition. You can put spikes on this vehicle. If somebody touches the spikes, they die. You can put blades on the vehicle. If somebody touches the blades, they die. You can put armor plating. This is obviously going to make your car survive more explosions, and obviously the roll cage just for some added protection. Then you can make your way all the way over to the hood, and you can add some armored hood, although I don't actually think this gives you any more protection, I'm going to be completely honest. So then we arrive to the really, really important things. First of all, we got a vertical jump. Most cars do not feature this, but with the vertical jump, you can literally jump over any barriers or things in front of you, and then we finally arrive at weapons. And there's quite a bit of weapons. You got a Mega Blade. This thing will just obliterate anything that's in front of you. The only reason I personally don't use it is because it's super low to the ground, and because of that, you can, bottom out your car on any curb or things like that. You've got the large scoop, which looks absolutely amazing, the reinforced scoop, and the light scoop. We can see that there are a lot of different customization options for this vehicle, and all of them are really, really cool there. Then you got primary weapons. You can mount a 50 cal or 40 watt phased plasma turrets. I'll be honest, these are pretty useless, but you can still mount them there if you want to use them. And to finish off, we have proximity mines. You have a kinetic mine, a spike mine, EMP, slick, and sticky. By far, the best out of the bunch is the EMP mine. This completely shuts down any vehicle that drives over it for like 5 seconds. So if there's somebody trying to chase you, you can just completely lock their car and you can leave. It's actually really, really fun. The other one that's alright is kinetic. This kind of throws the vehicle off the road, but personally, I think EMP is the best way to go. We now move on to one of the most important categories, which is protection and offensive capabilities. I'll be honest, both of these vehicles suck in terms of offense. Let's say that there's an oppressor, a Raiju, or just any flying vehicle up against you. Neither of these cars are going to be able to do a thing about it. They don't have missiles, they don't have remote miniguns that you can aim in the sky. Because of that, you'd be much better off getting out of your car, aiming a homing launcher at them, or pulling out an explosive sniper than trying to kill them actually in the vehicle. So that's the first thing. Offensive capabilities, they both get a big F. But it's defensive capabilities that we want to talk about. Now, I would say that both of these vehicles have different strengths and weaknesses. For example, when it comes to bullet protection, the STX, while it is good, and we can see that it is able to survive a little bit of fire, also struggles once you break into any heavy-duty weaponry. A minigun will cut directly through that glass with the first shot, and anybody running armor-piercing rounds are also going to cut directly through the Buffalo STX glass. So while this is a deterrent, it's not full-blown bullet-proof protection. However, when it comes to the ZR380, this glass is completely bulletproof. You can see that. All the shells are actually hitting the front panel rather than going inside. Now, the side panels are still able to be shot through, and that is the same for the back. However, the spoiler basically completely protects you because you can see it takes up the back of the car. So if you're being shot from the back or the front, you're basically invulnerable. It's only the side that you're going to have to worry. So in terms of bullet protection, if you're doing any missions against NPCs or somebody on the ground is trying to kill you, the ZR380 is going to win. But I need to specify it's only the Future Shock ZR380 that gets this protection. The Apocalypse and Nightmare do not. Keep that in mind because you don't want to spend a couple $1 million purchasing and upgrading this vehicle and then find out that the armor doesn't work because you bought a Nightmare variant. So first category definitely goes to the ZR380. However, in terms of explosion resistance, well, yeah, the STX completely blows this vehicle out of the water. The ZR380 can survive 3 explosions, 3 sticky bombs, 3 homing missiles. It's actually pretty impressive in that category. But the STX can survive 10 homing missiles, 6 sticky bombs, so it doubles the amount of sticky bombs it can survive and triples the amount of missiles. Not only that, but as I said before, you can put a missile lock-on jammer when it comes to the STX, meaning that nobody can even home on you to begin with. So in that category, the STX, you're never going to be blown up by somebody that's in an oppressor, that's in a Raiju, unless they know how to strafe and use the explosive machine gun. There's just no way they're going to hit you. The final category when it comes to defensive protection is pushing power. This is actually a really important characteristic that you'll want on a car. Let's say you're driving the Buffalo STX and you're trying to escape somebody that's either chasing you or, I don't know, you're just trying to get somewhere really fast and a car turns right in front of you. Well, if you're in the STX, it's going to be a little hard to push that car. As you can see, I mean, we pushed it, but we didn't get it fully out of our way. The STX, at the end of the day, is just a basic car. And because of that, it doesn't weigh that much. It does have decent pushing power, but once it loses its momentum or it starts to spin out, you're basically screwed. That is not the case for the ZR380. In fact, there are 2 different variants that you can use. This here is the Spinny Mega Blade of Death. And the way this Blade of Death works is essentially if you touch a car, it will go flying, as we can see it's actually up right on the other car. But it's quite fun because of this. You can literally just send vehicles out of your way with no effort whatsoever. So we can see this clique wagon in front of us, and bye-bye! I mean, look at that. That is insane. So if a car gets in your way, it will no longer be in your way with this vehicle. If somebody drives in front of you, they're really just not going to be able to do anything. I mean, the STX is a heavy vehicle, and that thing still got absolutely flung. And then we have the more basic plow. This is good if you just want to deal with a lot of cars in front of you and not really have to slow down all too much. So we can just drive full speed into this wagon. And as you can see, it doesn't even slowly stop us. The mega spinny wheel does send vehicles flying. However, personally, I like the plow more because it just gets vehicles out of your way. You can definitely see how being able to just push a car out of your way while either driving or trying to escape somebody is much, much more beneficial than just hitting a car spinning out and possibly dying from a missile or an explosive machine gun. Overall, when it comes to protection, if you're looking for a vehicle that will just never get blown up, then obviously going for an IMANI tech car, being able to withstand 10 explosions and having a missile lock on jammer is a much better option. But from my experience, people don't shoot missiles at cars on the road, and even if they do, they're only going to fire one, maybe two. And judging that the ZR380 can survive upwards of 3 explosions, the 4th blowing it up, I just don't see that to be too much of a problem. In most situations, you're going to be just fine in this car. And the big advantage is the fact that you not only have a plow, so if anything gets in your way, you can send it instantly out of the way, but as well, that bulletproof glass on the front is so incredibly nice, because it means if anybody does try to shoot you and is inexperienced with this vehicle, they're obviously not gonna like the results. We arrive to the final category for today's video, which is lap time and top speed. Let's start off with top speed. The Buffalo STX is able to achieve 126 miles per hour, which is actually pretty impressive when it comes to the muscle cars category. It's even better when you take a look that the vehicle also has fantastic handling, great cornering capabilities. Honestly, I have no complaints with the STX. It is an all-round amazing vehicle. The ZR380, well, it's got a lot of green, but it's also got a lot of red. For example, the ZR380 is one of the fastest cars in the game, able to go over 140 miles per hour when using its speed boost, and the speed boost recharges really quick, only takes about 5 seconds to fully recharge. So this car is constantly staying up to speed. The problem is that the ZR380 feels like you're driving on ice. I'm not joking. You're going to see when we get to the downhill portion, and just there alone, you can see my car spinning its tires a little bit. The ZR380 is incredibly hard to control, and if you're not a good driver, it's going to be a very painful experience. But that doesn't mean it's bad on lap time. In fact, currently, you can see we are ahead of the Buffalo STX, and that is because I'm constantly micromanaging my rocket boost that the vehicle has to take advantage of the straightaways and the speed that I'm able to achieve. I mean, this vehicle can go almost 20 miles per hour faster than the STX. But yeah, overall maneuverability-wise, the STX feels 10,000 times better. If you are not constantly paying attention while driving the ZR380, you're going to be off in a ditch, and that's just what it is. I mean, you can see every single corner. The car is getting some tire spin, and it took me a while to get used to it. I had to slow down for certain corners, but obviously I'm trying to keep as much speed as possible because I'm also trying to get the best lap time. So now that we have finally gotten to these straightaways, this is where the ZR380 is fast. You can see I've activated that rocket boost. And even though the STX is only a slight amount behind the ZR380, you're going to see the ZR just absolutely smoke it with this last strip here due to the speed difference. I mean, look how far ahead it's already gained on the distance. Before it was probably only maybe 200 feet. Now I'm probably about a half mile ahead in the ZR. But again, I have to make that corner there. My car spins a little bit, and I don't have that trouble at all with the STX, and I actually lose a bit of my speed at the final cornering capabilities. So it's back and forth. Very surprising to me, the ZR380 was actually able to beat the Buffalo STX by about 3 seconds on the lap time. However, there's something I should mention. It took me about 5 attempts to get a good lap in the ZR380. It took me 1 attempt to get a good lap in the STX. So that's something you should keep in mind. You're not going to get that dream scenario where everybody lines up and you're not going to have cars in your way. Most of the time driving the ZR380, you're going to smash into a wall because you're driving way too fast for anybody's safety. Here's what I'll say to finish off today's video. If you want protection specifically from explosions, then IMANI Tech vehicles should really be the only type of car you're looking to purchase. However, let's be honest, the majority of you probably don't play in public lobbies. And even when you do, what are the chances that somebody's going to specifically target you in your vehicle and try to blow you up? Very, very slim to none. I have yet to be blown up in an IMANI Tech or Arena War vehicle because most people don't focus on you. They focus on big, easy targets to take out. And because of that, I personally believe that you're actually going to do better off with the ZR380 than you will with IMANI Tech vehicles, because the ZR380 features fully bulletproof protection on the front and the back against a minigun, against anything firing at it. And what that means is you can use the ZR380 in missions, you can use it in anything really, and it's a multi-use vehicle, where IMANI Tech cars are really only good at surviving against explosions. So I like the ZR380 a lot. It's fast, it's really fun to drive, it's incredibly stylish, and as I said, it's got a lot of protection going for it. I should also mention that it has better mines than the IMANI Tech vehicles, which is kind of just a big old plus. You can also jump. I personally think that Arena War is the way to go. Now, obviously, if you only own an agency, then stick with IMANI Tech vehicles. And by no means is this video calling IMANI Tech cars bad. I think they're amazing. I just think it's much more important to have a car that dabbles in a little bit of protection from missiles and protection from bullets rather than banking all in one side. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.